a lot of us are wondering what to do about the fire ants, and when I got back on August 21st, my house was completely inundated. Luckily, the label fell off this, but this is Amdro that I got for 18 bucks at Home Depot. And there's little granules of it on the table right here because fire ants were coming up and down these poles and everywhere. And this takes care of the fire ants in my house. Well, I begin to wonder about the toxicity of these things, so I did a little bit of research today. I thought I'd enlighten everybody with what I found. Amdro, it is hydromethalon, and it was kind of invented in 1980, and according to the EPA, its toxicity is low, but it is carcinogenic, meaning that, you know, if you do have animals that come across and eat a little bit won't kill them. Now, what that amount is, I'm not sure, but Amdro, it's not as bad as I thought. I heard about insects eating it, and then rats eating the insects, and then cats eating the rats, and all the way up. It was toxic. Well, not so much. Let's not get carried away, Puna. Okay. So this is another thing I decided on. It's I had heard about it from, geez, who did I hear about this from? I don't know. Somebody told me to go to BEI in Hilo and get Tall Star, and I went there, and they said they don't have Tall Star. They have this stuff, and this is bifenthrin, and it is, I guess the label of it is Biffen IT, which is for insecticide and termite, and the chemical is bifenthrin. And that stuff is found in stuff like Tall Star, Max Thor, and Brigade. A whole bunch of things on Wikipedia listed. It's really bad for fish. Fish get it in their system and they're not happy. It kind of reminds me of DDT in that way, because it's not really water soluble. It's going to stick around in nature. But I'm thinking, man, I got to do something about it. And it's kind of interesting, though, because it's not really toxic on mammals in our system. That is to say, in mammals' system, it breaks down. And this is some technical jargon, but the ester bond in the bifenthrin breaks into inactive acids and alcohol components. So it turns into alcohol and non-harmful acids. That's not bad, but you know, if it got down into some water table with fish, that wouldn't be good. There's no lakes under me. There is the ocean downhill, but I'm not going to use that much. This is a gallon, so that's 50 doses of this stuff. And because it's 1 fluid ounce of this that you mix with a gallon of water. I'm going to mix it up and spray it against the side of my house and on my pier blocks. But before I do that, under the eaves of my house, I'm going to have to use some Roundup. And Monsanto made this. They made Agent Orange. Monsanto is evil. And it's interesting. I saw this episode where, or I forget, maybe I just heard it on a podcast, but one of the corporate reps of Monsanto said, hey, you can drink this stuff. It's inert. And somebody that was interviewing him was ready for that. And they said, oh, really? I have a glass of it for you to drink right here. And the representative for Monsanto said, that's ridiculous, stop being childish, and said this interview is over. So is it inert? Well, the glyphosate, which is the active ingredient, it has been found, and this is according to Scientific America, but it is really carcinogenic, especially towards embryonic, placental, and umbilical cord cells. That means prenatal. This stuff is, pregnant women should not come in contact with this. It's pretty bad if you think about it. But under the eaves of my house, to kill the vegetation and then to use this stuff, I mean, well, you know, I don't know. It's just I'm already using Amdro right here on the table. So one thing I thought about getting, and that is Avant. And a friend in Seaview used Avant on his 2 property lots. That's 2/5 of an acre about. And 3 days after he sprayed it, no more fire ants. And apparently its half-life is short. I tried to look it up online and could not find anything, except there's bigislandgrowers.com LRFA. That's for Little Red Fire Ants. But that guy used it on his lot, and they were gone. And he said 5 months after the use, the fire ants were back. But that's the thing, it's a bait, and it kills them, and apparently it's not too toxic. Apparently it's probably like something like Amdro, but it's expensive. It'd be $160 if you're splitting it 4 ways, and you have to mix it up with a drill with a whole bunch of peanut butter and oils, and I think glycerin, and I don't know. I just decided to go the cheap and easy way. And oh yeah, with the Avant, you also need a special sprayer. This thing would gum up too quick. So when you go through the spray bottles, but it would get rid of them on all my property. I don't know. I almost feel like spraying this all around my property. I mean, if it turns into inert acids and alcohol, if I get it in my system, it doesn't sound like it would kill me. I don't know. Is that a little bit too optimistic? Maybe I should do a little bit more research. Some other chemicals I've used for the fire ants: boric acid. And boric acid, I bought that. It's a powder. It looks kind of like cocaine or sugar or what have you, kind of like powdered sugar. And it's not really a bait at all. For me, I use it as a barrier. But if you mix it with powdered sugar, or it comes in a gel, and if you mix that with peanut butter, apparently that's good for fire ants. And boric acid is used for antiseptic properties for humans, treating wounds, and it can be used in salves for burns. It can be used for some eye operations. I found out it was kind of interesting that they use it in some douching. So girls use it for vaginal douches, apparently, if that's a thing that goes on. But yeah, that was according to Wikipedia. And if you do ingest 5 to 20 grams of it, it could be deadly. That's a lot. 5 grams. A nickel weighs 5 grams. So you ingest that much boric acid and you could die. And they say long-term exposure could lead to kidney disease or kidney failure even. And that is a concern. Had I known that, I probably wouldn't have put it all around my house. But I put it around the pegs of all my furniture. You can see right there, I put a little piece of tile down and then sprinkled some boric acid around that. And that just gives my furniture some lift, since, you know, this couch didn't have feet on it. So boric acid, I put that around. So it's, even though they use it for douching, I don't want kidney failure. I don't think they should use it for douching, actually, knowing that, should they? If I wanted to go completely non-toxic, I would go with Tango. And Tango is a methoprene. And I thought that was a hormone, but apparently it's an IRG, a growth regulator. And it prevents the larvae, the little larvae fire ants, from completing their pupation process. Pupation, I guess, means the metamorphosis into fire ant, from larvae to fire ant. Anyways, it slows the egg production, and I guess it's a myth that has been passed around. I had heard that it shrinks the queen ant's ovaries, but I did not see that, and that was according to littlefireants.com, which is a great website. Tango, it takes 3 months, it's super expensive, and you have to do it all the time. Yeah, but that's definitely the way to go. Apparently, they can even put it in drinking water. So, not bad stuff. The best stuff, Tango. Just bomb Hawaii with Tango, and we won't have this problem. But that'll never happen. Some other chemicals I considered and do use for my car especially is that Taro. And Taro is the over the counter. You find it in grocery stores. Rip off a tab. So this little plastic stuff, and the ants go in, they come back, and is what that stuff does. It causes slow digestive failure. So they share it with everybody before getting into their system, and then it slowly just kills them. Low toxicity in humans, and the active ingredient is borax acid, not boric. B-O-R-I-C is that white stuff, but borax acid, and that's the stuff in Taro. So anything else? Bifenthrin. There's another one called Provant, and I'm kind of wondering if that is related to Avant somehow. But according to cmdms.net, it causes eye irritation, respiratory irritation, and can be harmful if it is swallowed. So that's what I looked into. If you guys know anything else, please post it in a comment on this video. I hope that was helpful, especially for people in Puna and Hilo trying to deal with these fire ants. They are a problem. All right, aloha.